Hey there! If you're watching this video, either you or someone you loved has been diagnosed with autoimmune disease. You're probably feeling kind of scared and confused. And if so, you're not alone. Autoimmune disease is just one of those things that's a little out there because a lot of doctors don't really understand it very well and don't talk about it very much. You don't hear about it a lot in the mass media, and a lot of time your friends don't talk about it either. It's not as well understood as a lot of other diseases. But you're not alone, because over 50 million people in the US alone have autoimmune disease, and that's likely to be underestimated because autoimmune disease is kind of hard to diagnose sometimes, so many people may actually have it and not even realize that they do and have not been diagnosed. Contrast this with cancer. Only 12 million people in the US have been affected by cancer, so you can see that it's almost 5 times more people have autoimmune disease. So what exactly is autoimmune disease? It is a disease where your own body attacks your own tissue. You're probably familiar with the process of our bodies where if you get a pathogen or a virus that enters your body, your immune system ramps up and attacks the virus or pathogen and gets rid of it. So that way you're no longer sick and you don't have to worry about it. Well, this system works the same way in autoimmune disease, but unfortunately your body has gotten confused and it starts attacking your own tissue. Typically, whatever autoimmune disease you have is whatever organ has been affected. So for example, I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. You may have rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease of the joints. Crohn's disease, colitis, IBS, these are inflammatory diseases of the bowels. There are over 140 known autoimmune diseases at this time, but there are many more that are actually suspected to be autoimmune in nature as well. The problem with autoimmune disease is that it's very hard to diagnose, and you've probably been through this process, where you get the ambiguous kind of symptoms, the things that kind of creep up on you. You're not absolutely sure if it's like an autoimmune in nature, or if it's just because you're not feeling well, or because you're getting older, or just something. You're not sure. They're just kind of all adding up. And until you've really lost some of the quality of your life, you don't really go to seek any sort of diagnosis. So you may be wondering how you got autoimmune disease, what caused it? Well, first, before I get into that, I just want to say it's not your fault. Do not beat yourself up over it. It's something that happens to so many of us, 50 million of us in the US. So just don't get lost in the causes of it because that's really not as important. It can be so many things, but it's typically a third of genetics. So if you have someone in your family that has a gene that leans toward an autoimmune defect, then you may get it, but you may also realize that people in your family get different autoimmune diseases. It's not as cut and dry as there being one Hashimoto's gene, and then if it's switched, so you're gonna get Hashimoto's. It doesn't work that way. And so it's a varying soup of different genetic factors that can go into it. Another factor is your environment or your lifestyle. Have you been exposed to certain chemicals in your life? Have you led a very stressful life? Have you been exposed to certain bacterial or fungal or viral infections? There's a lot of links in between autoimmune disease and certain kind of diseases, like chickenpox, for example. And then the other third is diet and lifestyle. So this one is a little bit more ambiguous again, because it's not necessarily that because you ate this, it caused autoimmune disease, but it's more that certain foods that you eat can cause you to have an immune response and inflammation in your body that make it harder for your body to actually do the job it needs to do to prevent the autoimmunity, the eating of your tissue by your own body to happen. I'll get further into that into a later video because I can go deep into that. I mean, this is what my entire blog is based on, so I will go into that in a little bit more detail later. In the next video, I'll go over how you treat autoimmune disease and what your doctor probably isn't telling you.